Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the end of January 2020 video. Very excited to present to you a very fierce game that I grew up watching. It's probably the game that I remember the best. This is played between Lee Sedol 9P and Won Seon-jin 7P at the time, but right now he is a very known world champion. So very exciting game. Before that, I would like to first thank my viewers for your support throughout the months since I started the video. Got a lot of positive comments and stuff that really give me motivation to keep going with my channel. And I hope you guys also enjoy the video as well as improve on your skills in general. So last month I presented my favorite move of all time, which was a quite peaceful, almost philosophical move. Right? So today I decide to present a video for the end of the month that is a very fierce fighting game. Last move, Lee Sedol as black connected over here, and Won decides to take the group. And now white is leading in terms of territory, and now black pretty much has to kill this dragon right now, right, to sort of, if he wants to win the game. So let's look at what happened. Lee pushes, and then Won decides to bump, right? That's an excellent move. If you play anything else, Lee already has this attach. That's going to cause a lot of problems for white, right? So Won decides to protect the shape by bumping over here, creating an ice space over here, creating pressure with this potential G9, and also looking for the possibility to connect his group with the right side. Lee pushes and then jumps, right? Excellent move that not only strengthened his 3 stones, but also putting max pressure onto white's potential way to get him back home. After a push, Won plays an excellent move, that is to honey at L4. So usually when you try to make your dragon alive, you need to take advantage of your opponent's weakness, right? I've talked about this multiple times in my reviews and stuff. I think really need to emphasize this idea. Sometimes we're just running, but if we rush to run, they can just block our way home. And then check, what can you do here? Absolutely no way to make an eye. You sure can make this eye, but how are you gonna make another eye, right? Very problematic. Instead, Won plays a very professional move, that is to honey at L4. Before I run, I need to look at how you deal with your weakness. Lee obviously needs to honey here, and then Won double honeys, right? Following that golden idea by taking advantage of your opponent's weakness. Very difficult to deal with. Now if black plays the very intuitive M4 Atari, white will Atari from the outside. This is a sente, so if black decides to ignore this Atari, there is going to be a lot of problems, right? First of all, white will connect here. When black connects, white has this Atari on the bottom. Very difficult to deal with. So how do you even deal with this? If black just simply Ataris, white can connect himself underneath, right? So that's going to be a huge problem for black, because white is going to make himself alive, especially with this H8 in sente. If black connects, white still has this G1. Black is forced to start capturing the stone. And check, this is a sente. Black has a double Atari that he needs to protect. And this is a sente. And then this is a sente, right? And then white will be able to make himself alive. And that's game over for black, for certain. So So why do I mention that this sente is very important? Let's say I just capture, right? White can kick here at m7. Huge problem for black. If you just play this, very hard to cut white off. And what else can you play, right? If you try to honey, I can just mix the tiger's mouth, or I can just play n6. If you play this one, I wedge here. That's pretty much game over, right? At this point, after this double Atari, that's game over. If black decides to play this one, that's pretty much the same story, right? After this wedge, there's a double Atari here. If you protect your weakness, white will Atari at k9. That's also a game over situation for black. Lots of game overs. So absolutely you cannot allow white to Atari at L6 in sente, which is why in the game Lee Sedol decides to play L3. That is the correct move to play. Here, if white still Ataris, black can now go ahead and peep at n6. It looks like there's something going on, but not really, right? After this, very difficult for white to make himself alive. So if you play this one, I'll allow this sente, but what are you going to do after this? This one will be countered by this one, and I think this is just really hard to do anything. If you play this one, I think black can just first secure the group over here, and there's nothing that white can do, right? There's nothing white can do to save the dragon anymore. Lots of readings behind it. So if black Atari is at L3, this Atari is not going to be a sente, and both sides have to read it. Instead, one decides to play another excellent move, that is attach and make a shape at m7. Lee Sedol decides to peep. White connects, and Lee decides to make a bamboo shape at O6, completely cutting off white's connection, and now white needs to struggle something out. White first wedges at O5, excellent move, creating a lot of complication. Lee blocks from the inside, right? Lee cannot block from this side because after this, lots of problems. If you try to fix your problem, number 1 and number 2, white has 2 eyes. But if you do destroy white's eye, there's lots of problems going on here. So already this cut is very hard to deal with, right? So if you play out this one, huge problems, really. There's a lot of problems going on in here, in this corner. So not too sure who's getting killed here. So very dangerous idea for black to play like that. Black plays the correct move. It's to Atari from p5, and then white honeys. Excellent move and very tricky move. That shows the monstrous reading from 1. So what he reads here is very complicated. So let's say white just plays this one and then connect it here, which is a very intuitive way of playing. After black connects, white will push down, right? But after this, it's not so clear how white's gonna live. If white jumps, we can push in Kosumi at p3. White is not able to make himself alive. And what else can white play after this? Turns out white has a Tsuji at O3. So let's first look at if black Ataris from the top, white can extend and then connect. Black is forced to block at b2. And after this, sure, black is able to connect these 2 stones. There's no way to really cut white off. If you play this one, I can capture you, right? So But white does not even have to do that. White will descend at O1. That's a sente. White has an eye. You cannot allow the second eye. You have to destroy it. And then when white goes in at R3, pretty sure this corner is going to be killed. So that's game over. Black cannot Atari at P3. Black has to Atari at O2, which looks very counterintuitive because it leaves a lot of weakness. But black can hold like that. Black will keep crawling and then plays R3. White will turn and black keeps going. If white double Ataris, black will Atari here. When white captures, we can Atari from behind. And after this exchange, white is still dead. No way to live. So also you might be wondering, what if I Atari here? So if you Atari here, I'm gonna play this one and then goes back to the same thing. If you Atari here, as I said, there's this one, right? So not much you can do. So you're gonna go back to the same variation. So at this point, white's best move is to descend at Q1. And now black cannot play R1 because white is going to Atari at N2, and then these two stones will be captured. Black has a Tsuji that is connect at N2. That's a correct move to play. And now white's only good move is to actually play the double Atari. At this point is a very, very tricky point. That is for black to connect at N4. This is the best move to play. If white double Ataris, looks very severe, but black can take at N5 because the objectives are the dragon. Even if white captures the corner, black can capture the entire dragon and win the game. However, if white connects here, black will connect himself at Q5. That's the best move. When white cuts here, black can drag the stone back at N8. And now, there's no way to kill these stones. And you can get a comfortable Atari, but this group has only 2 liberties. So black's alive everywhere, and then white has no way home. This is game over. But let's assume at this point that white has this exchanged and then cut here at P6. Now black has absolutely no way home, right? At this point, it's going to be killed. So big problem if this was exchanged, which explains you. Check how many moves I'm backing here. I'm backing so many moves, and then check what Wang played. Wang exchanges the N8. If Lee plays anywhere else, right, anywhere, just doesn't matter, without any care, the variation is going to play out, and then these 2 stones will be captured. So monstrous reading. I cannot emphasize more how much these guys read. It's insane amount of reading. So Wang read all that, and Lee looks at the board and he's like, yeah, I know what you're reading, so I'm going to play not my move. Instead, I'm going to play K9. What is this K9 doing? You might be wondering. It's for this variation to not work out. When you play M4, black can defend this entire threat by playing L4. Because now, if you play J8, I can destroy your second eye here. So you still don't have 2 eyes. Well, Wang looks at the board and he feels very frustrated. And then he says, well, that's a Tsuji. I'm going to look for weakness from somewhere else. That is to extend at H11. So things still look very unclear at this point, mostly because black has some weak stones over here, some weak stones over here. Lee really needs a lot of reading power to hold this position. which is why Li decides to play g12, trying to kill these 2 white stones. Wang pushes at h12, and here, if it's just an amateur level player playing this game, he just extends like that. That is unfortunately game over, right? So white will play out this one first. This is a sente, right? If you defend like this, unfortunately the variation I mentioned will happen again, and these 2 stones will be captured. Black will take the stone to prevent anything happening over here. However, white now has a Tsuji, right? So you can pause a little bit and then see if you can read it out. But turns out that white has a Tsuji at k9. That is going to kill black. Black defends like this, we can cut him off. Does not matter what you play, right? So big problem. Black is captured like this. So if you play this one, I can play out this one. Just no way for you to survive. You can play as many moves as you want, but then no way out. 3 liberty, 3 liberty, 4 liberties. You have 2 liberties. Not gonna happen. Black is killed in the middle. So if Li plays like this, that's not Li anymore. That's probably some amateur level players. So Wang, at this point, he thinks, well, I think I'm just going to come back into the game. Because here, if black decides to fix over here, white will cut here and try to kill these stones. These stones are in serious trouble. When you play this one, I can extend out, and then I can squeeze over here. When black connects, white will cut here and check. There's a lot of reading going on, but just going to quickly show you that black has only 3 liberties left, and white has 4 liberties. So that would be also game over. So white seems to create a Mii situation. First, it's Atari at m9 and then attach at k10. Second is try to kill these 4 stones. Looks like it's game over for Lee Sedol until black plays the next move. That is to attach at j11. When Wang sees this one on the board, he probably just feels desperate right now. At so many points in the game, he feels like he's gonna come back into the game. He's gonna win the game, but Lee Sedol just used his monstrous reading power to defend. This move not only prevents all the threats such as Atari and attach, because now if you Atari and attach, obviously it's not going to work out. And this also tightens white's liberty. When you play this one, first of all you need to cut, and then I can play like this and check. When you squeeze here, I connect, you play this one, I play this one, right? Absolutely no way for white to fight anymore. At this point, it's 4 liberty versus 3 liberties. White is going to die. So Lee Sedol just killed this dragon with pure reading. That's insane stuff. So at this point, that's white's dragon is dead. After the first is this k9 Tsuji, and then an attach another Tsuji. Wang looks at board and he really does not want to resign, so he keeps playing. And then let's just hold on, this is not what is played, right? So 1 Ataris, and then Lee Sedol connects. 1 also exchange stat, exchange 1 more move. Absolutely no chance. Lee's not gonna let anything live here. And 1 turns and Lee blocks, right? If you play this one, since white gained another liberty, huge problem for black here. He will cut here and then check. White will honey here. When black cuts, white will push here, and then huge problem for black. If you play this one, I can push here first and then capture everything. So Lee still has to defend very, very carefully. That is to block white's liberty. White decides to drag out everything here to go for a final fight against Lee Sedol. Lee decides to cut white off. White pushes, and then Lee decides to secure the center group. White plays this block, and then Lee takes the stone. So now this dragon is killed over here. After this exchange, Lee decides to finally connect. So white never got a chance to actually cut, because after this, the liberty fight is still not going to work out. Right? If you play this one, right? I mean, you only have 2 liberties left, and I have 4. So that's just not going to happen. So Lee must, Won must connect here, and then when black connects, white decides to kill everything in here. Very, very awesome game, right? At this point, what happens is that, well, basically what happens is that this center is also killed by Won. So it looks like white's not going to win this liberty fight, but he does not have to, right? At this point, if Lee plays like this, that's already dead. That's pretty much dead, right? One is going to play this one, or even this one. So Lee's not going to play like that, right? There's no enough eye space. There's just no enough eye space for black to live in a center. So so when white plays this one, Lee's center is killed, but look at what happens on the bottom. Everything is killed over here, so that's 60 points, and then and what white gained is not even 40 points, so huge loss for white. And then Lee decide later on to go fight this coat, but it really does not. The win and loss is not affected by later moves. So very, very fierce game. The highlights of the game, of the kill, is, let's just recap the process, right? Look at how difficult it is to kill a dragon, especially at this point. One first makes this honey and then double honey. First mistake that you can make is to Atari at M4. Lee avoided that by just reading. One attaches, looking for Lee's other mistake. After a few exchanges, another wedge, right? Looking for another mistake from Lee. Lee obviously avoided by reading. And then the biggest trick is here, right? When white plays out the N8, and we talk about the sequence of things. So if you play anything like such as extending here, white will play this one, and you have to get rid of the eye. If you do that, huge problems for you, right? There's a squeeze over here, lots of problems going on in this area. So a lot of reading going on, and then it's not what is played. Instead, Lee plays a Tetsuji at K9. A weird looking shape, but actually is the best move. Won drags it out, and at this point, Lee's winning move is the J11. Anything else would have been would have failed to both save the center stone and also kill white's 3 stones. So at the end, white decides to struggle something, but Lee played very simple, killed the dragon on the bottom, and also and just sacrifice his center, right? This is way smaller than what he got down here. So black is winning at this point, and I think the game ended with Lee winning by 8.5. Very, very, very fierce game. I watched this game many times in my childhood. Definitely affected my style of playing, and Lee has always been my favorite player that I learned a lot from. So I hope you enjoyed the game. A lot of readings. And the way you would improve on readings is by doing more life and death problems. And I'm pretty sure both these two players, Lee Sedol and Wang Senyong-jin, are just grandmasters of life and death problems for them to read so much in this game. Alright, so if you liked the video, give a thumb up and don't forget to subscribe for more videos to come. The Joseki series and the Trick series are all series that are ongoing. Once again, thank you very much for your support since I started this channel in October of last year. Maybe I want to mention a few things. So my channel is especially good for players above 5K, but it's also excellent for a player in the 5K to 10Q level, as well as even some double-digit Q player, because some material you might have difficulty understanding, but that's absolutely not a problem, because when I was learning Go, I was at double-digit Q as well. So and I was listening to professionals talking about games, so I couldn't understand anything, but with time I just and also obviously with motivation I was able to learn most of understand most of this stuff. So feel free to share my series, my channel with your friends who also have a passion for the game of Go. I currently think that my channel is excellent comparing to some other channels that I have watched online that are in English. I think my channel has stayed very vigorous in terms of quality of material, and I filtered out a lot of the stuff that would not necessarily help you to improve and stuff like that. So I believe that my channel is excellent for Go players who don't speak Chinese or Japanese or Korean. So I'll keep working hard this year, and hopefully having more quality videos as well as more creative ways of motivating players in the game of Go. Alright, so once again, thank you very much for watching, and I'll talk to you guys next time.